when we share testimonies, boy, I tell you, the 5 people are going to share with you today. If you stand up here and share, man, the trust issues, you've got to have dealt with them with you and the Lord. Because you've got to trust Him, to do this. And so you're going to be absolutely amazed at what the Lord is going to not only bring forth, but also touch your heart with. So be ready to identify and be ready to support and encourage, but also be ready to have the Lord speak into your life what He wants you to hear today. So the first person giving testimony today, would you come up? Matthew Twist. Come up and share. Matthew is so excited about doing this. He said to me, he didn't, I'm going to make this up, but it's funny, okay? So he said, am I the only one? Because I'm just telling you right now that Matthew is not shy in the least about what God has done in his life. Because he was there and it happened to him. And he knows it for sure. And so just listen to Matthew and let that bless you.
Good morning, Grace Harbor. How is everybody? Good morning. So, I've been a covenant member of Grace Harbor for about a year now, almost a year. And this church is really awesome. The Holy Spirit drawn me here. I'm a student at the Orange County Rescue Mission. I've been there for 23 months now. Is anybody familiar with the Orange County Rescue Mission? So, I've been there for 23 months, and the Lord brought me there to save my life. And so my journey starts when I was 6 or 7. My parents used to send me out to church. School bus used to pick me up in front of my house. We used to go to Forest Spur Church, me and some of my friends. That's where the Lord started our journey. I was saved there about when I was 6 or 7. I remember being in the sanctuary one Sunday morning and giving my life to Christ. And that's when it all started. So, I used to go to church every Sunday with my parents. That's where I met Cheryl. When we were like 10 or 11, we went to church camp together. We went to the same church and we met there. And we started a friendship there that lasted quite a few years until high school when we lost touch with each other. More about that in a little while. So I believed in the Lord. The Lord never forsake me, never gave up on me. But there were times where I was never farther from the Lord. And I remember thinking to myself lots of times, man, I've never been farther from the Lord. And it was on me. It was not on Him. And I would tell Him, man, I've never been farther from you, but you're still right here. And so I was always amazed by that. And so in high school, I lived about from here to that next building over there from my high school, probably a bad thing, because my house became the party house, and I did a lot of stuff I wasn't supposed to be doing. I didn't go to school, I'll tell you that. And so, but the Lord never gave up on me, and so, like I say, I've never been farther from my Lord. So, through my teenage years, through my 20s, through my 30s, into my 40s, I was never farther from the Lord, but I always prayed to Him. He always took care of me. And probably, like a lot of people, when they need something, they go to the Lord in prayer, and I always did. He always took care of me, even when I don't deserve it. And we don't deserve a lot of things. We don't deserve anything He gives us, but man, He's a good, good Father, and He loves us, and He wants to bring us to Him. And so, even when we are farthest from Him, He's the closest to us, and He brings us to Him. The way we're at, and the spot that we're in, and the sin that we're in, He still loves us, and He still cares about us, and He still won't forsake us, even though we're living in sin and doing the things we did. And so, I became homeless in 2013. I remember that night I got kicked out of my girlfriend's house because she found out I was doing drugs, and she didn't waste no time. She booted me out with all my stuff, and I'm standing on the front porch and going, man, what am I going to do? Where am I going to go? And so I had, every morning as I was going to work, I would see homeless people in the neighborhood where I lived in, and I would give them cigarettes and some money sometimes. And so I went to them and I said, man, I'm homeless now, and can I stay with you guys? And they were staying in the river flood control channels in Garden Grove. And so it wasn't very long. It was a couple days where the Lord started to really pull on my heart, and I started doing stuff I didn't even know that you were supposed to do until I got here. And so one day I remember I was riding my bike down the street, and I said, Lord, I can't do this. I've never been homeless before, and I can't do it without you, and I surrender my life to you. I never surrendered before. I'd always known about the Lord, but I never knew what it was like to walk with the Lord. And so that's when my journey really began, when I didn't even know you were supposed to do that. I surrendered to you, and wherever you're going to lead me, this is where I'm going to go. And so being homeless is a plight that involves a lot of shady stuff. And so I wouldn't do that shady stuff, so I had to rely on the Lord. And He provided everything for me. For 2 years I was homeless, and I just had trust and faith in Him, and it was amazing how I would think. And so I heard a sermon the other day about God when you pray. You don't necessarily have to verbalize it. It could be something that's just on your heart that you're thinking about. And so I remember one time in particular, I was just thinking, I wasn't even praying, but in my heart, no, I know I was. That, man, it's going to be cold tonight, and I need a blanket. I got to find a blanket. I don't have any blankets. And so 5 minutes later, I go behind this apartment complex, and there's 2 brand new sleeping bags right there. And so it was amazing. And so the whole 2 years that I was homeless, I didn't have a hustle, they call it, which is either boosting stuff from stores and returning in, dealing drugs, all that. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't live a life of crime. And so I really relied on the Lord to provide things for me, to bring me along just by faith. And it was amazing how every day I would walk, and in my path He would drop things in my lap. Everything that I needed that I didn't even know I needed. But He would drop things in my lap, and I would be walking down the street, and I would have people pull up to me in their cars and said, the Lord told me when I passed by you 5 miles ago to turn around and come back and give you $5 or give you food or whatever. And so that just strengthened my faith. And this happened daily. This wasn't like an every once in a while thing. And so I started talking about my faith a lot to the people I was staying with, and they didn't believe in the Lord. They didn't even mention the Lord. And so when we would go around, we would hang out together, and they would see things. I would talk about these things, and they'd be, oh, yeah, right. But they would go with me, and they would see these things happen. And so eventually, they started talking about the Lord. And so I knew that was part of my mission, because as I gave myself to the Lord and let Him lead me, I volunteered to be in the Lord's army and to be part of His special forces that would bring people to the Lord. And even though it wasn't preaching the gospel per se, it was talking about the Lord through my faith, because I didn't know enough about the gospel to sit there and preach to people and evangelize. But I knew I could lead by example. And so as I was just hanging around those people, I was just talking about my faith and how the Lord was taking care of me, because I didn't have anything else or anybody else. And I wouldn't live a life of crime, and they knew that. And so they would see these things, and eventually they started talking about the Lord, and we started reading the Bible together. And so I knew that was my mission down there in the flood control channels of Garden Grove, was just to talk about my faith, and that was what I was supposed to do. And so eventually, about 2 years, God told me it's time to go. And so I I was estranged from my son, who's 21 now. He was about 19, 20 then. And so I wanted to be a father to my son, and so I separated myself from my group, and I went about 5 miles out of my known radius to where I didn't know anybody, and I stayed in another flood control ditch, and I was broken and alone. And a lot of times, that's where God brings us into a place where we're completely alone and completely reliant on Him. And I started reading Psalms 50. And I read about Psalms 50, 51, 52, and it just talked to my heart. And this is like a Wednesday night. And so Sunday night I went to church for the first time. I taught in the church in Los Alamitos. And I just broke down, and man, the music, and it was just wonderful. And so I was baptized about 2 weeks later. But before that, I prayed to the Lord that I wanted to love Him back in my life. After my mom died in 1992, I had a heart of stone that was like granite, and you couldn't break it, and I was like that for years and years and years. But the Lord started to soften my heart to be a father to my son and to want to love Him in my life. And so I remember praying, after reading those Psalms, I remember praying, Lord, I'm ready for a love in my life. Please bring me someone who's a God-loving and fearing woman that would help me to be in your family and to be part of you, that we could help each other. And after 38 years, Cheryl pops back into my life again. And so, I was just praying for somebody, and He brings me here, and we have such history, such history in church, and I'm being such good friends when we're in high school and junior high, and going to church camp together. And of all people in the whole world, He could have brought me. He brings her back into my life. And that was just, I was floored. And so I've been trying to pick myself up the floor with the Lord's done me ever since that day. And so I went to church and got baptized, and then the Lord started really working on my life. But again, so did the enemy. I came under some serious spiritual warfare, and the enemy was trying to keep me in his army. And so, but I just leaned into God, I prayed to God. I remember one day I thought I was going crazy, and it was shortly after I met Cheryl again. I don't think the Lord wanted us to be together, because I was under attack. I thought I was going crazy, and so I was 2 days. The second day, I was praying to the Lord Lord, yeah, I was going mad. I was about to check myself in the hospital. I thought I was going crazy. But I knew it was spiritual warfare, and I called Cheryl too. You got to pray for me. And then I worried about her. Oh, now the enemy's going to start attacking her. And so, man, I was going crazy. And so I asked the Lord, man, you got to send me. I prayed and prayed. You got to send me your heavy hitters. You got to send your special forces down to protect me. And so I'm sitting at this bus stop where I had gotten off the bus, right? I know it was my bus stop, but I was about 3 miles from my bus stop. And so I'm sitting there, and a kid walks up. He was like in his 20s. Never seen him before, never. And so we start talking, and I'm like, yeah, I'm just having a hard time right now. And I'm under some spiritual warfare. And he kept telling me, you got to put the enemy at your feet. The enemy at your feet. And so we talked for like 10 or 20 minutes, and it was comforting, and I was a little bit better. But after his name, he said his name was Enoch. And I went, wow. And as soon as he said his name, all that went away. And I honestly believe the Lord said Enoch himself. And it was amazing. So I don't know anybody who's named their child Enoch. I don't know. And so for him to say his name was Enoch, I know it was him. And man, I was completely at peace that surpasses any understanding, as the scripture is saying. My only regret was I didn't ask him a bunch of questions. I just walked away. I said, that's it, it's done, it's over, thank you. And I walked away, and I never seen him again. But that's for faith to decide. I believe it was Enoch himself from heaven. And so those are the types of things that the Lord's done for me from then on. So from then on, after that, I traveled around for a couple months, still living in sin, but still being drawn to the Lord, through the Lord, by the Lord, with the Lord, for the Lord. I was staying at a friend of mine here up the street, and I would stay at his house for like 2 or 3 weeks, and then I would go away, not wanting to wear out my welcome. And so I was leaving one day, and he said, "You can stay, you can stay." And I said, "No, I don't want to wear out my welcome, I'm just going to go." And he said, "Well, try the Orange County Rescue Mission up the street." I never heard of them. So I went there. And as soon as I walked in there, and the Holy Spirit was so thick in that place, you can cut it with a knife, and I knew it was where I needed to be. And when I did my interviews, they said it's a 2-year commitment or faith-based organization, and I didn't even blink. And that's where I ended up. A couple of weeks later, I was in. Except it wasn't that easy for me. I couldn't quit smoking. And so I was in there for almost 90 days, and they smelled smoke on me, so I had to confess. And I was been smoking, you're not supposed to smoke. And so they said they would, my case manager said, "We're going to report it to nobody. You're not going to get in any trouble. We're going to get you the patch." But I was so ashamed and embarrassed that I walked out the gate. And so, thanks to Cheryl, she kept me in my program, kept me in the church. She wouldn't let me backslide, and so I knew I was going to go back. And so in 90 days, you can go back. So in 90 days, I went back. And I remember the day I went back, I was riding my bike over there, smoking a cigarette, and I was asking the Lord, please, I was begging him, "Please, you got to take this craving for cigarettes away." I'd already quit then, and I already quit smoking pot, and that was nothing compared to trying to quit cigarettes. And so I was praying to the Lord with everything I had to please. The only way I was going to make it if He took this craving away. And so, as I smoked my last cigarette before I walked in the door, that was my last one. That was 23 months ago. I think it wasn't a problem, and that's all due to the Lord. And so these are the things that He does for you when you're serious about wanting Him in your life. And so from then on, I was serious. And so ever since then, He's just performed miracles in me and in my life and the people around me. Fast forward, I've been in the program 23 months. I've done my work. Cheryl gave me a 1-year Bible a year ago last Christmas, and it's been the biggest blessing in my life because not only of the Word that's fed me, but of the dedication that I got that I gave to the Lord when I got that Bible. I dedicated some time in the morning that I told the Lord that I would come to you and I would pray and I would read your Word every day, and I haven't missed a day since. And it's been the biggest blessing. That's when everything started to turn around. That's when the Lord put on my heart to just be serious about Him and just be a sponge. And I've been a sponge ever since. And so, and He's just worked miracles because I've taken baby steps towards Him, and He's taken giant leaps towards me. And that's what He does. And so I went through the freshman phase of my program. It was supposed to take 90 days. It took me 5 months. Went through the sophomore phase of my program. It was supposed to take 6 months. It took 8 months. But that was all the Lord's timing. And so I believe in the Lord's timing as an impeccable timing. In the Bible study, Wednesday night, we talked about intersections. And so God has perfect timing. And so we just have to lay back and we have to relax. And we have to let Him do His thing. We have to take baby steps towards Him and take giant leaps towards us. And so in January, I finally got to go to the job workshop program of the Orange County Rescue Mission. It's a week-long course in how to look for a job, how to do interviews, how to find a job. And I know the Word says that be anxious for nothing. No, I was real anxious. I had been a worker bee all my life. I've had 2 jobs right out of the Army. I got a job at a bottling plant. I worked there for 11 years. Quit that place and I got in the union, and I've been a heavy equipment operator ever since then. And so I didn't know how to interview. But they taught me all the skills, but still it made me only a little less nervous. And so I knew I was facing insurmountable odds by having to go out and look for a job again, and it was daunting to me. So, graduated the workshop, got promoted to senior student. Hit the pavement right away, got a first interview at, where was it at? Where was it at?
It was an industrial place for FedEx.
Oh yeah, so a friend of mine who had been through job workshop, she was a lead at FedEx warehouse in Anaheim, and so I had, she got me an interview, I went and talked to her boss, I got hired right away, depending on my background check, which, man, the list of what God's done in the last 2 years. So I got my record expunged, 10 misdemeanors, 1 felony. So I got a clean record. I got a relationship with my son back. I got my health, my teeth. I got so many things that just in the last 2 years the Lord has restored in my life. So this is God's timing again. So you got the job. I signed an agreement. I agreed to work for him, just depending on background check. Background comes back. There's still a case that hadn't been handled. So I go back to Trinity Law Clinic that represents the rescue mission. They help us clear up our stuff. Oh, we forgot a case. So, okay, so we put it in there. So I go to another interview. I get that, but they want me to get some money up front to get a guard card, and so no. And so I didn't take that one. And so we have some people that come up. I live at the Tustin Veterans Outpost of the Orange County Rescue Mission. It's right down the street on me. We have people that are from the Tustin Exchange Club and the Irvine Exchange Club. They're an organization, a nationwide organization that does stuff for veterans. So they helped fund the Tustin Veterans Outpost. They bought an apartment complex and they gutted it and they redid it. And so the Tustin Exchange Club donated a lot of money to get that place renovated and stuff. And so they come and throw us a barbecue every third Sunday of the month. And so I'm talking to the former mayor's wife of Tustin, Randy Bernstein. I said, I just went through job workshop, is there anything, you can help me out with? Because in workshop, they taught us about networking. You're supposed to talk to people who you know, if they can hire you on. And so I hit her up, and she's like, yeah, let me make a couple phone calls. And so Wednesday, I called her up, I'm on, so trying to be proactive. Well, you got anything for me? And she's like, yeah, go talk to this person at this company, at Sterling Collision Center, right over here in Tustin. I talked to the owner and come see, call him up, schedule an interview. So I called up, and I go in there and I talk to the general manager, and he's all, well, I'd love to hire you, but we don't have a position open. But I'm going to talk to the owner and see, if we can do anything. So a week goes by, and he calls me back up, and he's on, the owner would like to talk to you, and why don't you come on in today at 2 o'clock? And so I went in there, and the owner liked me, yeah, we'd like to hire you, but we don't have a position open right now, but we like you, so we're going to have to carve something out for you. So it turns out they made a position that they didn't even have available at the time for a forklift operator, and they hired me. And so I've been working there for the last 5 weeks. And so that's what God does. He makes something out of nothing. And so God has been good to me in so many ways. I know He's been good to you. And so my thing would be, what I would say is just to give it all to Him, to trust in Him, to surrender to Him, to live in Him and abide in Him, and He'll abide in you, and He'll give you everything you need and more. He'll give you even what you don't need when you think you need it. And so I think that's the most important thing. He knows what we need. And so I would just completely and utterly trust in the Lord to feed yourself with His Word, feed your spirit, and slay your flesh. just trusting Him. So that's my testimony in a nutshell. Thank you for this. That was good. That was good. Unfailing love, never let me down.
You probably saw this. It says on the screen, only God can turn a mess into a message, a test into a testimony, a trial into a triumph, and a victory into a victory. Those are true words, and you can read the other verses too. And I'd like to invite someone else to come up here. From one end of the spectrum in terms of life experience to someone who's just starting on their journey. And so Sharon, would you come please? Sharon Kim is going to come. I had the opportunity to see Sharon speak at her, or on tape, of her speaking at her 8th grade graduation, and she just did a fantastic job. And we just wanted to hear what the Lord has given her to share.
Good morning. Good morning. So I actually have a script, so I wouldn't forget anything today. I hope you're okay with that. So I wanted to start my testimony with a genuine thank you to Pastor Fred for giving me the opportunity to speak in front of you today, and for all the support he has provided my family and me ever since we stepped into this church for the first time. I'm also blessed for each and every one of you because you make up the church family that God has placed me into. And most importantly, the biggest thank you to God. As you already may know, my name is Sharon Kim. I'm a 9th grader and I go to Grace Harbor. I have a mom and an older brother, Joshua, who is the drum boy. You may see me as another typical teenager, but I am unlike many around me. God has reached out to me at a very young age, and today I stand out for many people of my age with the Spirit of God inside me. I was raised in a Christian home, happy, healthy, and very outgoing, but caught up in the world. I love my life. Jesus Christ, he was just a name that Christians mention a lot. I prayed thousands of prayers and studied the Bible in Sunday school, but he had no place in my life. This was my mindset until something happened in my family that changed my life forever. In the midst of my family issues, I fell into a mental struggle which I battled for a long time. My family and I were forced to leave our old church and were left searching for another church to belong to. My mom struggled to support my brother and me financially, emotionally, and spiritually. I struggled to go to school every day and interact with peers. I turned away from most of my friends and isolated myself. At this point, we had to choose between two paths: complaining and turning away from God, or seeking for God's mercy. I'm thankful for my mom, who chose the right path and led us that way. In the lowest moments, God revealed us the true goodness and joy of his love. As my family read the Bible, listened to sermons, and lived each day on a new mindset, our eyes were open to the reality of life on earth. This world, this life, this body is all temporary. This is not our home. We need to look to our real everlasting home where we will meet Jesus in person. My mom taught me that without pain and trouble, there is no way that we could long for the truth, real happiness, and joy. I realized that I should not devote my life to fake things this world tells me I need. So I willingly took the narrow gate and started walking on the narrow path Jesus invited me to join him in, and I'll fight the good fight until Jesus says I'm done. God performed a vast number of miracles in my life in the past couple of years. One of them has to do with school. As I was selecting courses for 9th grade, I was torn between taking biology and AP biology. I wasn't sure if I could handle the rigor of a college AP class, especially if I was in place with the right teacher. There was a teacher that my brother was already close to, and we really wanted him to be my bio teacher. And we knew that he was a devout Christian, so I thought and prayed that God would put me in his class. So I selected AP Bio with an anxious heart, and for the first time ever, to be patient and see how God uses my decision in his plan. My family and I prayed for God to place me into that teacher's class, but I ended up in another teacher's class. I was discouraged and asked God why, but soon I realized that God had placed me in a class better than what I had hoped for. I was matched with a female teacher who in fact encountered obstacles very similar to what I had faced and could easily relate and support me. Through this experience, God taught me that He already has plans for us far better than we could ever imagine. Today she is my AP Bio teacher, and she is my Christian mentor and personal counselor. I meet with her every Thursday after school, sharing God's goodness and praying with her. Through her, God has provided me with a tremendous amount of healing and hope for the future. There are so many other moments where I've experienced how God works beyond our expectations. We had a car lease that we needed to return, but we lost the manual book for it. And returning the manual without it, or returning the car without the manual, would give us a fine of $120. So we searched for it, but we couldn't find it. We prayed, but we didn't find it. So I wondered why God didn't listen to our prayer. We were frustrated because we thought that finding the manual would have the best outcome. We returned the car without the manual, and we were fined an extra $680 on top of the $120 fee. I wondered why God was doing this in the midst of our situation. This led my mom to call the car company in concern, and then a miracle happened. They waived the entire $800. If we were not charged the extra $680, my mom would not have called the company, and we would have ended up paying $120 and maybe more. We asked him to save $120, but he ended up saving the entire $800. Sorry for the math, but the main point, he works the head of us. We have a family worship time every night. One of the Bible verses we read, 1 Thessalonians 5:16-18, held the answer to our desolation. It reads, "Rejoice always, pray without ceasing, give thanks in all circumstances, for this is the will of God in Christ Jesus for you." Today I am more thankful than anything for the hardship God has allowed us to encounter. As human beings, we cannot see God until we undergo trouble in this world like Jesus did. If God did not allow these things to happen in my life, I would have never have come this far in faith and maturity in Christ. In the midst of my trials, I have learned to engross myself in God all day, every day, and I've made them habits. I start each day writing the Word, and am always amazed that they all apply to me in some way every day. All throughout the day, I walk with Jesus, holding his hand, and talk to him like he's right next to me. God fills all the empty holes in my heart, and I've learned to find absolute satisfaction in him. To be honest, I often let go of Jesus' hand, and when I do, I feel lost, and I go to my mom for help. She tells me that I may have let God's hands go, but he has never and will never let mine go. My mom is not only wise in academics, but guides me, my brother and I, in our walk with Jesus every day. I'm unspeakably blessed to have her as my mom. Life is still perfect, and I know it will never be until I go to heaven. I know God placed me and each of you in this world for a special purpose. Our job in this life is to find our purpose with God's guidance, and then to live our purpose with God's strength. God has done so much for me, and I know I will never be able to thank him as much as I should. He has provided me with the unrepayable. The faith, understanding, and love that God has trained me in are priceless and something I would never trade for anything in this world. All I want to do is live his way and serve him with the talents, health, time, and knowledge he has given me. That's why I volunteer in hospice, mentor kids, write to inmates, and decided to start our church's recycling ministry. We named this ministry Born Again Bottles as a reminder for us to die and be born again in Jesus every day. I just want to lift God's name up in whatever ways possible. It is a miracle that my family and I started coming to Grace Harbor Church. Thanks to the grocery outlet across the street just now. Thanks to God. Out of the many churches in our area, he led us to find this church and finally a place to belong to. Again, I am so unspeakably blessed to be where I am today, having had an experience where God opened my eyes to see what many people today don't see. God is real and he is here. He's always moving in our lives, even when we can't see. I understand a lot of you already forgot what I said, but to sum it all up, the main point of my testimony is that God works in us through hardship. Pain, distress, hopelessness, and fear are the keys that unlock our stubborn hearts and open them towards our one and only hope, Jesus Christ. So whether you are hurting today or not, I hope and pray that all of you will have the courage in the dark moments of your lives and look up to see that God has already won the battle and is waiting for you to simply join him in his victory. Thank you.
Did anybody besides me get your hope just restored? Amen. Wow. Boy, talk about a spectrum of experience. I bet you didn't know Matthew, did you? I bet you didn't know Sharon. These two gems in the midst of our body, ready to share this kind of profound truth with us. We are blessed. God has been moving and working, drawing a new fellowship of people around those who have remained committed here. And we see this happen over and over again. Next, we're going to have a couple share. And it's somebody you've known for a while, and that's Mary and Jeremiah Castaneda. Mary is going to come, and she's going to share it first. And Mary, I'm just looking so forward to hearing from you.
Alright, well, Jeremiah's got the baby over there, so I wrote mine down too, so if I'm not looking at it right at talking, I'm sorry. My story starts out as a 5-year-old little girl visiting my dad for the weekend. My mom and dad got divorced when I was 5. So, I came from a broken family. Sorry, I didn't expect this already. My father lived next door to my grandmother, and on the weekends I'd go over to her house and see what she was up to, and many nights I'd stay at her house. She is very involved in her church and would take me to church on Sunday mornings with her, and many of those occasions we would sing together, and she would teach me about Jesus, my Savior, and how much He loved me. She was the one who got me my first Bible. It was pink with my name stamped in it, and so I just looked at it last night, and I've had this for 30 years. Wow. So, from as early as I can remember, I've always believed in Father God. I always knew I could pray and He'd be there for me. As I became a little older, my grandma had some health issues and wasn't able to go to church as much from brain surgery and heart problems. She kept her faith and did the things like praying before you eat and thanking God for what was given to us. As a young girl, she didn't have much. As a teenager, I moved to Missouri and I didn't see my grandmother and my father for 4 years, and that was such a hard time for me. Because it had nothing to do with my dad or my grandma or me. But it was such a blessing when I was 15 years old. And I got to move back with him, and I got to spend that quality time with him that I missed. I'm so sorry. By the time, it was such a blessing. So, I was 15 years old. I moved back, and I got to spend the quality time. My father was helping take care of my grandmother, but would work a lot of hours and would work out of town. And so I spent a lot of time with her and learned many things during this time about the Lord. By this time, she didn't get out much to do much, but she always would sit there on the couch with her Bible, and she would watch her sermons on TV. And she loved watching TV. I would sit there in the living room with her and just listen and conversate with her on topics about the Lord. I believe the Lord gave me this special time with her as a stepping stone to His greatness. He has a way of moving through your life, and many times you can't even see it. After graduation, I moved out and went on to doing normal and young adult work, college, failed relationships, and at one point I was going to join the Air Force. I went down and took all the testing and everything, and there was something on me that the doctors wanted me to get checked out and make sure that I didn't have cancer. So I wasn't able to sign my paperwork that day. And if they hadn't done that, then I would have been in the Air Force. But, God stepped in. He said that wasn't the path for me. So, the next thing, my dad's sister passed away, and it got me thinking, and, I started thinking, if something was to happen to my grandma or my dad, I wouldn't be able to just be there. So God stepped in again the next thing, and I met Jeremiah. And so not long after I moved out to Orange County and started a totally different life than what I had imagined. I did a few things I'm not proud of, and I turned myself around now. Sometime in 2009, Jeremiah's father came to visit and brought a friend that he had been going to church with in Missouri. And he talked about his love for God and asked me and Jeremiah if we'd ever been saved, and I had never publicly done so. Then he asked me if I'd like to, and I said yes. Right there outside, next to an apartment on the street, I accepted Christ as my Lord and Savior. God stepping into my life and guiding me down my path. After that day and moment in time is when I could see a change in my life. I now had a walk with Christ. Jeremiah and I decided to start going to church and to continue in our walk. The first Baptist church that I found was Grace Harbor. And we walked in that door sometime in 2009 and 10. Once I started coming to church and learning and reading, I noticed that what was changing in me. I now started seeing things in my heart changing in the way of thinking. I started doing things for my Father and trying to follow His Word. Once I felt all these changes happening, I knew I wanted to and had to be baptized. That's when I asked Pastor Fred to do that for me and pick verse Jeremiah 29:11. In 2011, I lost my dad on February 5th, and that was one of the worst days of my life. He was such a rock in my life, and I couldn't see clearly. But the Lord stepped in, and I found out March 2nd, a month later, that I was going to have my first baby girl. So, yes, the Lord giveth, and the Lord taketh away. He gave me such a blessing. He gave me something to hold on to in such a hard time for me. Jeremiah and I had been married here. We dedicated 2 of our children here. Met wonderful people and given lots of love from a great church family. Once I sat down and started writing, there's just so many blessings, but life itself is a big one. Comes with so many experiences. When I first thought about giving this testimony, it was a little hard for me because I never had a time I didn't believe. I always was taught about Jesus. I always knew that my life given was because of Him, and He was everything. A kind Christian warrior in this very church told me that God has His plan for me, and He knew what that was even before I was born. I don't have to be ashamed of my past and only have a future to look forward to. I want to know what He has for me in the future, and I can't wait to share it with Him. Jeremiah 29:11, for I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you hope and a future. So in closing, I have to say, my life and what's happened has been His plan all along, and everything in it is because of Him. All those great times, memories, sad and tough times, He's been there. So I choose to walk the path He gives me and walk it with Him, because of God's love is never ending, and I give my life, my trust, and thanks to Him.
Are you going to see how to transfer a baby? Okay, there you go. All right. Jeremiah, come and share with us. Now for something completely different, right? Praise the Lord, brother.
Hello, everyone. It's a little tough for me. Again, like my wife said, when Pastor Fred asked us to do this, she called me. She said, Pastor Fred asked us to do a testimony. He's kind of like, can you hear me? Oh. Hello? Hello? Oh, there it is. Well, you can actually come back to it too. Anyhow, and so I was like nervous, and I didn't know what to say, and I just told my wife, I said, let's just pray about it, and so here I am. Anyways, I didn't really write anything down, I'm not good at writing a story. I basically know it by heart, and so I just wrote a few, just go through them. So I was born here in Orange County with I have an older brother. He's about 2.5 years older than me, and at the time I was probably about 2 or 3 years old. My parents were very bad in addiction, and so we were basically left with my grandparents and my my dad, he moved to Kansas City, Missouri to get his life together. My mother, she basically just, she left and didn't turn back. And so, growing up, I had a lot of hatred and hurt in my heart. You know, I started going down the path at a very early age. I followed my brother's footsteps. You know, he was everything to me. You know, it was, he wasn't exactly walking the way that, you know, he should have been walking. And so I seen a lot as a young kid. I won't get into detail with everything, but it was not good. It's nothing that any children should have to see. You know, and so anyways, it left me curious. You know, very curious as a young boy. And you know, it happens in curiosity to a cat. You know, it takes you down a whole different road. You know, so anyhow, we stayed out here in California until I was about, I think, getting around 10 years old or somewhere around there. And my grandmother and grandfather did a great job raising us. I mean, they gave us everything, you know, that they could do for us at the time. You know, my grandfather instilled a lot into us as being good men and work hard for what's yours, you know, and everything. So anyhow, at the age of 10, my brother's probably around 12 or so. My grandparents figured it was time for us to go live with my father out in Kansas City, where he met another woman who was my stepmother. And they're already having children, so I got 3 other brothers and sisters, or 3 brothers out there and 2 sisters. And so we moved out there, and basically it was good, you know. But at the time, my father was an alcoholic, you know, and so I was so confused as a young kid, you know, and I started, you know, messing with things, like I said, when I was in elementary school. You know, and this went on all the way until I was in high school, and basically it was, you know, things weren't working out for me out there, and so, you know, at the age of about 15, I was kind of given, you know, in a way, an ultimatum to clean up my act or to get out, and so I left, you know, and I came back to California, and basically I bounced around from house to house, you know, from family to family. And we were raised in a Catholic church, you know, and I knew about God, I knew about Christ, I knew who He was, or, you know, which I guess it was more visually what I seen or what I heard. And so, as I came back to California, I went through a tough struggle out here. You know, I got pretty lost and into a substance abuse. And it basically took control of my life from the age of 15 until I was about 25 years old. You know, that's all I knew. It's almost like I learned how to control my highs and lows through things that I was doing. And so it was a lot of dark days, a lot of hurt inside of me, a lot of wouldn't open up to people. You know, always carried this chip on my shoulder, a lot of pride. You know, and so anyhow, so I went on like that for many years, and then I found out that my father, you know, he gave his life to Christ, and you know, I talked to him on the phone and stuff, and he'd tell me, son, yeah, you know, I'm not drinking no more, you know, and stuff like that, and he'd come down to visit, and he'd come to like youth groups and stuff, and I didn't understand all this, you know, it was all new to me, you know. It was like it wasn't my dad that I knew, you know, the father I knew was the father that, you know, I grew up with and was used to. And so when I see him, you know, bringing these youth kids around, and they would, you know, go out to L.A. and feed, you know, the homeless and do these things that I had no idea about, you know. And I don't know if it made me more angry. I don't know what it was, but it just left me questioning things like, you know, how could I have gone through all this and now everything's okay for you? And I guess it was just like this hurt, you know. And so as time went on, I ended up meeting my wife, Mary, and she was there towards the end of basically when I was in a bad place in my life. And I think when I first met her, I really tried to, you know, almost push her away a little bit. You know, it's like I didn't want her to be around, you know, this person, because I was not a good person to really, you know, be around in a way. I mean, I loved her. I didn't, you know, we loved each other and everything like that. But anyhow, it took till a time when I was close to 25 years old, and I was still going about it the same way I was doing everything. And I woke up about 3 o'clock in the morning. Mary, I know she was working at Vaughn's at the time, but I woke up on a recliner chair, and I did a lot that evening and stuff, and my body was shutting down, and I had no control. My body, it was a feeling that I never felt before in my life, you know, and because I was always able to control it. I thought, you know, I could control how I feel. And so I tried getting in the shower, and this feeling just came over me to where it scared me to death. And I remember I asked Mary to give my Bible, you know, because I always carried a Bible, always had one, and I curled up, you know, like a baby on the ground and started crying, you know, and I just telling Mary that I love her. Please forgive me for who I am and for anything I've ever done, any hurt that I may have caused to anybody, and, you know, and I just felt like, you know, I was dying. And at this time, too, my dad had already let my brothers and sisters know to, you know, call your brother and still to love him, because we don't know how much longer he's going to be around, basically, you know. And so, anyhow, by the grace of God, that day was the last day I ever touched, you know, what it was that I was on. And it's a miracle in itself, you know. I mean, it just changed me after that. I remember coming outside. It took me a whole about a day or two to recover. I couldn't leave the apartment and stuff. And when I came outside, it's like I heard the music of people's cars and the people outside hanging out. And, you know, they're in work and, you know, hey, come on over here, this and that. And it was like almost like I just, you know, it was scary. You know, just the boom, boom, all the noise and everything. And I remember getting in my car and I drove to a gas station. I called my grandmother, and I told her, Grandma, you know, something's wrong. And she told me, well, what took you so long? You know, get over here. So, you know, get over there. Because that's how Grandma always was. You know, she'd give me the remedy, which was basically grape juice and some Tylenol. You know what I mean? And cook you some food and put some food in your stomach. And so anyway, so I don't want to get sidetracked with all this stuff, but so then, you know, we left Santa Ana, me and my wife, we moved to Tustin, and so I was talking to my dad this whole time, you know, and my dad was always telling me, you know, speaking to me about what Christ has done in his life, and I was trying to understand it and everything, and so I started reading my Bible, you know, I started really reading it, and I started changing my station from what I used to listen to listening to like Pastor Riley Reese, I listening to after work every day at 5 o'clock, you know, and he started putting conviction into my life, you know, and started like changing me, you know, and at first I didn't notice it, you know, until later on when I started talking to my dad and everything, and he kind of explained things to me, you know, and so anyhow, he came out here because, you know, of a thing with the family, I can't remember what it was, you know, when we lost somebody and whatnot, and so at that time, you know, he brought his friend with him, and his buddy was talking to him, and basically asked him, do you have a personal relationship with Christ? I told him I've always known about him, you know, and I've always felt like I had some sort of relationship, and so at that time he asked me if I'd like to, you know, give my life to Christ, and of course, you know, and that's what I did. I gave my life to Christ that day out front in the park, like my wife was saying, and anyhow, so I kept doing what I was doing. So we found a church, we started coming down here, and I met Pastor Fred and all the great people that come to this church, you know, and I've learned a lot, so much from everybody, and so anyhow, as time went on, I kept reading my book and stuff, and then I would tell my dad, when I talked to him on the phone, I said, hey, Dad, you know, the craziest thing is, you know, I started getting these feelings inside me where it's like, when something happens or want to do something, it's like there's this something inside me that's telling me, hey, man, you can't do that, you know what I mean, or it's not right. And he said, son, you know what that is? And I said, no, he said, that's the Holy Spirit working in you, you know. He said, that's the Lord working inside of you. And so you're changing me. Tell me how proud he was of me. And you know what? My dad, he's like my best friend. You know, he's everything to me. You know, and I mean, he's just everything to me. It's so strange is that I loved him even when he was sick. And I love him now for who he is, no matter what. so my mother, I had a lot of hatred towards. Resentment and stuff. And it's so funny because now I love her and I don't even know her. You know what I mean? I love her to death, you know, and I think I seen her picture on Facebook for the first time, like, I don't know, a few years ago, you know, and still we haven't spoken yet, but, you know, and anyhow, just finding Christ has just changed my life dramatically. You know, it's a blessing every day that I wake up. I just tell God, thank you, Lord, for giving me another day to, you know, just be alive, you know, to see the sunshine, my lovely children, my wife, you know, every day on the way to work, you know, I'll turn down the radio because I listen to pastors in the morning too now, and I turn it down, and it's like the best time for me is when I can just give thanks to God right there, you know, and it's the personal times that count most for me, you know, to just be in a room and just lift my hands up in the air and just tell him, thank you, Father. Thank you for everything you've done for me, God. Just thank you for opening my eyes and giving me the opportunity to become the man that I've become now for my family and to just be a better person, you know, to people that I come across in this world. You know, it's this world is tough and it's dark, and you know, I mean, I could go on with things that I see every single day, you know, but I try to, you know, people at work, even, you know, when I tell them about I tell them, you know, what did you do this weekend? Well, I go to church, you know, once you go to church, blah, 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 you know, this and that. And I said, well, yeah, I'm a Christian, so I don't believe in that stuff. And you'd be surprised how many people out there just do not know. You know, they do not know the truth. And they don't know Christ. I mean, it's just a story in a book that was just handed down in time, you know what I mean? And it's just a fairy tale, and it's sad, you know, and you try to talk to them, but they, you know, their blinders up, and they always tell me too, they say, man, you must have, you know, done a lot of bad stuff in your life, you know. And I said, well, you know, I said, that's okay, you know, you can feel that way and everything, but that has nothing to do with it, you know what I mean? I said, Christ is here for all of us, no matter what kind of walk or life that we've ever had, you know. Some of us take a different path, and that's just the way, you know, life is, and, you know, you can either hang on to it and make a pity party out of it, or you can just, you know, step up and say, okay, it is what it is, you know what I mean? You just got to keep walking, you know, and don't give up, you know, and just keep your eyes open and see those people, you know, like I saw my wife the other day, you know, when I walked out of the 7-Eleven, and I see this young girl, you know, she had a certain kind of change, you know, and I said, well, yeah, you know, and I give her some change. She tells me, you know, God bless you, and I told her, God bless you too, you know. And you see all the sores on the body and the hurt and the pain and the stuff that she's going. Nobody knows her story, you know what I mean? And yet they have these signs out in front of 7-Eleven say, do not feed or do not help, you know, the homeless. You know, when I came to Grace Harbor, it was great going with Jim at the ministry to feed the homeless over here in Santa Ana. I really enjoyed that. You know, I really enjoyed talking to people and helping people out that are down and out or you know, are having a hard time, you know, because I've been there and I've seen it, you know, and I know what it's, you know, I know what it's like. I know a little bit of what it's like to be in different situations, but you know what? God is good. You know, God has been good, and I'm moving forward more and reading my book more and his book. You know what I mean? But you know, it's just great just to come here to this church to see, you know, all these great faces as we all grow in our faith. And it's a great church here. You know, Pastor Fred's wonderful. It's great to have Pastor Debbie here now, and you know, just all the great faces. And you know what? I just want all of you to know that I love you, and I thank you all for everything, and I thank God for being here today, and thanks for listening to my story.